Hello, everyone. Hi, I'm Cheryl Carr, your work doctor, and this is the Achieve with Dr. C broadcast. As you can see, I got my little Christmas shirt on. This is the Christmas edition. I'm so glad to have you here with me today and to share with you more about life planning. If you're not following me on Facebook, please make sure you go and follow me, and if you aren't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please make sure you go click that little square that says subscribe, click like and share so that you can be in advanced knowledge of these broadcasts and receive the information that I'm sharing, because that is what I love to do. This is a broadcast about things that really matter in our lives. I'm talking about life planning. Today, that is one of my subjects. I've talked about habit forming. I've talked about addictions. I've talked about workplace behaviors, which is my area of specialty. And as many of you may not know, I am working towards my MD in functional medicine. So as soon as I get all of that done, I will be able to talk more to you about holistic neuroplasticity, neurogenesis, all this fancy smancy stuff that helps us when it comes to recovery from trauma. And right now, we are still all collectively traumatized because we had a major shift, societal, financially, all of our systems of operations, even the way we socialize and grieve and illness, healthcare, everything has changed in the last year. And when you have seismic shifts in things like we've had since the beginning of 2020, there is no way your life isn't upended, disrupted, and we all struggle to recalibrate and get back a sense of normalcy. And that's why I tell you guys, we're all collectively traumatized. I specialize in post traumatic growth. I don't like um, just looking back and reflecting on an issue. I like to progress and move towards a solution. I love to tell people, if you tell me something that you are having an issue with one time, then you're venting, you're trying to find out an answer. But if you tell me the same issue over and over and over again, I know you just want to complain, because there's nobody experiencing trauma, upending of their lives, loss of loved ones, grieving, all of the things we've been going through, that if you're not fighting for your mental and emotional well-being, I don't know what else to tell you. And it can't be found in a bottle. It can't be found through shopping, even though I know I tried with Prime and shopping. It doesn't work. It just creates another problem. And then it can't be solved with food. We're all carrying our nice COVID weight, and I'm really working on that. I really want to get back to the health and wellness that I believe and I need to enjoy life at its fullest. And then you can't sex it away, even though you're trying. I'm just going to share with you the only way to get to a place of something good coming out of everything that happened to us is by fighting for your own mental and emotional well being. And that's the information I've been sharing with you this entire year. And while I specialize in workplace issues, I do have foundational training in positive applied psychology and now functional medicine, sex and relationship counseling, as well as leadership. I'm working with addiction and recovery. And even my approach to that is to partner with a facility that does holistic They take care of the whole person. They understand your mind. You live in a body, you have a soul and a spirit. And for those spooky spiritual listeners out there, I do want you to know everything I do is biblically sound, biblically based. I'm just not preaching. I can, but I won't. I'm not preaching traditional preaching. And I'm so appreciative. I'm seeing this more and more now where pastors that are out there realize psychiatry isn't evil. It's not from the devil. God gave you a mind. He gave you a brain. It's a wonderful organ. It functions in the whole ecosystem of your body. You need to know when you have issues, you can see a doctor. You can see a psychiatrist. You can see a psychologist. You can receive non-traditional medicine, and that can partner so well with pastors and preachers and teachers in the ministry that understand you may not be qualified to deal with someone. You can cast out the devil all you want. Some people need psychology and psychiatry. And I'm seeing a major push because the volume of people experiencing difficulties is so great and in unique ways. I'm finally seeing some pastors that are open to what psychology has to offer you. Now, psychology, there's lots of different types of psychology. We deal with human behavior. We deal with human behavior in different concentration areas. I chose work because my doctorate is in business administration. And then I went on to get an industrial organizational psychology and positive applied psychology, as well as a change management certification. So that allowed me to deal with people and their issues, a wide variety. And that's why I'm doing these broadcasts. It's my way of giving people something they may not know how to go seek help, and they might not have the initial information to let them know they might have a problem. So many of us are consciously incompetent, unconsciously incompetent, and we don't really know we have issues until somebody else calls it out for us. Or being that I firmly believe in self coaching, you're the expert in you. And so it's a good idea for you to be that expert and make sure you are able to look at the way your life is going, how you're living. And that's what life planning helps you do. And that's why I'm doing it today. Okay, so let's dive into the information. You didn't hear me, you didn't come and listen to this. If you're listening to the rebroadcast, thank you for joining me and spending this time with me to learn about life planning. Now, last week I told you what life planning is. It's a roadmap for your life. Just as I used the example, when you get in the car to go somewhere place you've never been, or someplace you haven't been in a long time, or to go someplace you want to visit, you normally use a GPS. Or for those of you who are old school and can read a map, good for you, you read a map to tell you how to get where you're going. It amazes me that people don't want to do the same thing about their life. They're living aimlessly, doing the same thing all the time, and perhaps expecting different results. That's a cliche that I really don't believe is very true. People usually don't do the same thing expecting different results. They do the same thing the same way, expecting the same thing. But we all know life isn't that way. Life changes and it comes at you at the speed of life. It doesn't go at your speed. Did anybody have what happened to us in 2019, in 2020 with the pandemic? Did you have this on your vision board? I didn't. And our life plan. So it was not planned. It wasn't expected. Now I had heard when I was over in Italy, because I went to Italy and Israel, the beginning of 2020. I actually left on New Year's Day. So New Year's Eve. So I woke up and spent New Year's Day 2020 in Rome, and then went on to Italy to speak at an organizational behavior conference at the University of Tel Aviv. So I can tell you, this was not on my vision board. I had heard the rumors, heard the word COVID. It was just bubbling up then as I was wandering around Italy. So, anyway, I'm saying all of that to tell you none of this was on anybody's vision board. We may have known what was going to happen in some way, that we might have felt something was going to be absolutely earth shatteringly um, life changing. And I had that sense. I knew 2020 was going to be a big year. But who would have thunk it'd be 2022 and we're still in the same mode, dealing with a different variant? But life planning is necessary, it is needed, it is wanted. If you do this a few times, I bet you're going to go, man, how did I just live my life? And I'm not even talking about resolutions. I don't do those. I stopped doing that, even though it's akin to life planning and it's a part of life planning is to set goals. Resolutions are an all or nothing kind of approach. The very task focused. And that's not how the brain works. That's not how we achieve. And you guys know I'm all about achievement. And the world really needs you achieving the best you can bring to the table right now. Because the answer to our problems may lie within you. And if you just dust off your dreams and get your life together and decide change is going to happen, and yes, doing the same things the same way every day and people expecting things to stay the same is what I come after. Because whether you like it or not, change is an involuntary bodily function. Time is not asking you if it's okay to change. It just changes. It just changed right now. It keeps marching on. Things keep happening. So, why not spend some time life planning? Why not? What do you have to lose? Nothing. Let's get into it. I tell you the 6 areas of focus, and I am going to put some worksheets and some links in the chat for those of you watching the rebroadcast. I'm going to try and remember to do it on both my Facebook page as well as my YouTube page. And what I'll do is I'll place it in the chat so that you can download the worksheets and you can do all of this life planning exercises um, by yourself. Now I'll tell you what I do. I normally, like I said, about my birthday, I start fasting, praying, spending time in silence, detaching from things, and I do a process called reflecting, which I taught you guys last week. And I share some links to some questions to ask yourself about the last 300 and something days of your life. How did things go? What did you like? What did you don't? What happened that you didn't like? What are the crises? What are the challenges? What are the issues that you're seeing in your life right now? What are the good things? What are the things you can celebrate and look at and go and be grateful for? What are those things? Now, once you have those things in mind, that's when you can start actual planning. Once you've done your reflection and you look back, and I advised you to journal, to write things down. There is something to hand and eye and writing the vision down so it's plain. That is a brain function. It's something that happens in the brain when you do that, that helps you remember, helps you recall, helps you remember, makes it more real, more tangible. So, writing things down, having a journal dedicated to your life planning, having a section in your planner, which I do hope you have a planner. If you don't have a planner, let's start with the basics. How about this year you get a planner? And for those of you, oh, I don't write things down, I keep it in my mind. Or, oh, I don't have the time to write this down. Look, you can probably not be any busier than I am. And the tyranny of being busy, I bet you it'll go back to how you plan your time in your life, as well as having a full plate. I know I'm not a mother, so I don't know what it's like to have kids, just sucking all your time out of your life, time and resources. But anyway, veering off course. It is really important to have some place you can write your goals down, and have some place you can write your thoughts down, have some place that you can plan your day, plan your time, know where you're going, what you're doing, know all of that. It's really important that you can do that. So if you don't have a planner, get a planner. I don't know why I just did that. It's just something popping up there. So anywho, because I want to teach you these 6 areas. Okay. My normal process: reflection back, which I taught last week. And then I go through a period of time of really intensely looking at the things I liked, didn't like, mulling those over, planning my goals. What do I want to do in all 6 of these areas? And sometimes for me, I've done the one thing challenge before, where you just pick one thing. For me to do that is, it's a blessing to center in and hear one thing, because I don't rush and I don't like a lot of stuff. I don't function well that way. So it's really good for me to hone in and have a focus point. And that's what one thing does. What's the most important thing? And it can change. It doesn't have to be one thing. Remember, again, nothing is the same all the way. Nobody is the same always, all the time, every day. Change is an involuntary bodily function. You are changing right now. We just changed. So, 6 areas. First area is spiritual. And life planning can help you narrow in from what's broad. Life is broad, life is multifaceted. There's a lot to life. And having a focus on a word, or narrowing your focus in on your spiritual life, that's one of the 6 areas. You will be surprised. There are a lot of spooky spiritual people out there that believe that any type of spiritual planning is ungodly. You can't box God in. Well, God tells us to plan. He does. Just like he commands us to rest. It's not a suggestion, it's a commandment. He tells us to rest. But many of us want to focus on being busy, and a lot of us are so busy. We haven't planned our devotional. We haven't planned what things we want to work on, cooperate with God. He loves a two-way communication with us. He's not a dictator. He's not one way at you. And what happens to a lot of us is we get so busy working for God that we don't commune with him. We're not two-way. We're not listening. We're not asking. And if we do ask, we're asking for selfish things, like the car, the house, the husband, we're not asking God for him. And focusing in on your spiritual growth, I've had such sweet things happen in my relationship with God when I decided to be intentional about my relationship with him. I don't know why we just want our spiritual life to just happen like it's ethereal and it's unrealistic and it's supposed to be this high level, unknown spiritual life. And that's not how God is. He created us, He's very practical. God is so practical. And He knows your needs before you even need them. Sometimes that focus of cooperating with God and devoting yourself to certain spiritual disciplines that you planned out, first part of my day, first part of my evening, first part before I go to bed, I'm going to pray. I'm going to read the word. I'm going to fellowship with other believers. I'm going to do these acts of service to glorify God in my work and in my community. And for me, I just became an AKA this week. Um, and it's the most beautiful thing, the whole experience. But now I am united with a group globally of women serving and of such great history. If you haven't watched 20 Pearls, watch that movie and learn um, what the sorority, AKA, is all about. Alpha Kappa Alpha Incorporated. Yeah, amazing organization that I'm now a part of. And what is so great about it is I get to serve, and it's very spiritual too. And I can plan acts of service throughout the year now with my association and membership with this service organization to help everyone and to serve and to so much I can do now. And that's part of my spiritual life planning. And God's not going to like drop that. I had to be intentional. I had to do things to plan, to fulfill, to engage. All of those things are expectations from God of His creation. It's not going to just happen. And yes, He can do it. He can make us robots, but He doesn't. He wants your cooperation. He wants communion. He wants two-way. So spiritual is one area. Second area is physical. Now, most of us, especially those of us getting a little older in life, have to tend to our physical health. And that for me includes my body, how I eat, what I drink, how I sleep, all of those things. Where I have my physical body, like what things am I going to participate in? What things am I not? Am I going to smoke? Not smoke? What's the most healthy physical thing for me? Do I need to lose weight? That's a part of a life plan. And then you can plan how to do that, how to focus on your physical well being, because it requires focus. You're not just going to wake up one day and be poof, fit, poof, eating clean, poof, eating vegetables. No, you've got to make some commitments, not resolutions that are task oriented, but no, decide physically, I would love to be blah, 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 whatever it is to you. And then the other area, third area, is emotional. Yes, emotional. Remember, I said you're the expert of you? You are. And you should be able to know what things are happening with you emotionally. How are you feeling? I love core desired feelings. How do I want to feel? And I focus on those things. There's a great book by Daniel Laporte called Desired Core Feelings. What do you want to feel like? Yes, you can plan that. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? Because we're taught emotions just happen. Mm-mm. You get to make some decisions. And it's amazing what this mind will do and what things you will invoke in your life just by simply focusing on your spiritual, your physical, and your emotional well being. How do you want to feel? Then, relational, big one, because we're created to be in healthy relationships. And if we're not, we need to plan to improve our relationships. It's so important because you're not created to be all by yourself. And you can't beat me for wanting to be alone, be a loner, just be into the things I want to be into and not engage with other people. But a few years back, I decided I wanted to have a more healthy relationships more healthy relationships with the people I loved. I wanted to have healthy relationships. So I began to focus on that. And I decided to learn what a healthy relationship actually looks like. What does it look like? Don't know. Till I decided to be intentional. And my relationships in my life are greatly improved and bring me joy. Then we've got mental. Now, mental and emotional are separated because mental can be your acquiring of knowledge, like me getting functional medicine, getting my IELTS psych certification. All of those are goals to focus on our mental and emotional well being. And those are closely linked, but you can break them out because mental means knowledge, it means your emotional state, your mindset. And some of us need to detox the mindset we've had the last 5 or 6 years, especially due to a lot of things that went on in society, including COVID. But we need to decide what is our mental um, and emotional well being going to look like for us. I will know I'm happy when I will know I can do this kind of work when I acquire this type of knowledge. Planning school, planning work, planning the accolades we want at work, the awards we want to win at work. All of this is so important as a part of your plan. And next week we're going to talk about how to fail and still return to your goal because a lot of people will fail and give up. So we're going to talk about how do I fail and succeed? Because failure isn't necessarily deadly to your goals. It just may mean you need to adjust. You need to be flexible in how you achieve your goals and not be inflexible with any part of this. Okay. And then finally, the final area for our six is financial. Get your money right. And financial is all encompassing because cash is not king, cash flow is. And for some of us, we've got to recover financially. Some of us took a beat down. Some of us had the best years we've ever had. All of that requires acquiring new information about your financial well being. How do you want your money to be made? How do you want to spend your money? How do you want to save your money, invest your money? What kind of work do you want to do? All of this is included in planning financial. All you've got to do is decide. I have started writing down my financial goals by number. And then I have daily goals. What do I want to generate daily? So every day you got to be focused. and make it more real. For some reason, having a daily goal, a weekly goal, a monthly goal, a yearly goal has been life changing for me. So every time I set that dollar goal a little higher, boop, I hit it. It becomes more real to me because I took the time to life plan and write it down. So there you go. That's the show for today. That's the information I wanted to get to you. I wanted you to have those 6 areas to focus on, to begin your life planning, to know how to use the worksheets I'm going to give you. I think it's worksheet, and it's a PDF fillable. So if you don't have PDF, you might want to download the app. Okay? Yeah, let's life plan. I just cannot emphasize to you enough how valuable adding this to your toolkit is. You want a better 2022? Do you want a better 2022? Here's a simple thing you can do. Reflect back what happened that you like, what happened that you didn't like. And then once you've reflected back, I need you to life plan, because I know how it will help you to not only just set goals, but to meet them. And that's all I'm about, achievement. So I'm Cheryl Carr, your work doctor. This is the Achieve with Dr. C broadcast. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening to the rebroadcast. And hey, let's life plan. Check out the resources I put in the chat box. Please go back and check it. Don't just listen to me. Do some of this stuff. It's so important for you. Okay? All right. See you next week. I'm not sure what time because we're coming up after Christmas, getting ready for New Year's. Not sure. Okay? Thank you so much for joining me. And I pray something was shared with you today that you will find absolutely necessary. Take care. Bye bye.